Betty Julie, rubias de New York, cabecitas adoradas.
From the First World War onwards, both tango and jazz were globalized by the entertainment and recording industry. In North America, the bourgeoisie of New York sought an appropriate cultural repertoire, turning to European aristocratic culture. In that context, the fashion of tango arrived in the United States in the early years of the 20th century, again based on the European cultural model. It is around this time that Broadway became the center of New York's nightlife. Entertainment entrepreneurs emerged who quickly became cultural mediators, trading with the new leisure industry.
Tango malevo, canción de cumbia.
The rise of tango music, song and dance on American stages, starring the great Gardel, who made a powerful impression with his performances of authentic tango in the movies with the film Melodía de Arrabal, Cuesta Abajo and El Tango on Broadway. Let's not forget that Fresedo, Cobian, Firpo, Canaro were also part of the long list of tangueros who sought fame in North America. There were also the dancers. After the success of the film The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, in which Rodolfo Valentino, dressed as the gaucho, improvised an Argentine tango, such as El Cachafaz, Casimiro Aín, Ernesto Bianchi, Maria Canaro, Medrano Antono, Veloz and Yolanda, among others. Both tango and jazz are symbols of a deep and complex interaction of how the primitive and the modern coincide in the avant-garde cultural construction. The origins of jazz dance and its developments go back to traditional African movements. Africans had to find ways to adapt to their new environments and lifestyles, but they also wanted to retain their native traditions. Dance was the only way to achieve this. The Harlem style of Norton and Margot, 1933 to 1947, known professionally as Norton and Margot. They were one of the few Afro-American ballroom teams in history. Their career was emblematic of the frustrations, paradoxes, and double standards which existed for Afro-American artists in the United States. They followed on the heels of the 1920s, which was the golden era of Afro-American vaudeville, of the Cotton Club type, posh nightclub, and of Black Broadway.
The crowd there was wild about a new dance, the Lindy Hop. A variation on the Charleston, the Lindy was named in honor of Charles Lindbergh's hop across the Atlantic in 1927. At the Savoy, it was danced to the sounds of first-class bands.
The Savoy's ballroom, which was 10,000 square feet in size, was on the second floor and a block long, opened at a perfect time, giving the rising, talented and passionate African-American dancers an equally beautiful venue. It could hold up to 4,000 people. The interior was painted pink and the walls were mirrored with coloured lights dancing on the sprung layered wood floor. In 1926, the Savoy contained a spacious lobby framing a huge cut-glass chandelier and a marble staircase. In Buenos Aires, one of the most admired was that of Paul Whiteman, known as the King of Jazz. The first significant event where the two rhythms were integrated was when the newly created Avenida 9 de Julio became an attractive dance floor, very well lit to the delight of Foxtrot and Tango enthusiasts. second happened when in 1929 Josephine Baker performed in Buenos Aires. There was a revitalization of the American dances as they reproduced the stereotype of Yankee modernity. Already by the 1930s, knowledge of jazz increased and swing became synonymous with the big band music. Jazz orchestras lived harmoniously with those of tango as if their roles were complementary. The competition between the orchestras of tango versus jazz did happen. However, these genres that were parallel and with many similarities both in their gestation and in their stage of globalization learnt to coexist. In Astor Piazzolla, the final answer was found, a dialogue, another hybrid that came alive in his work and turned him into one of the greatest musical geniuses that Argentina gave to the world.